So I think last time we had started chapter 3.
Yeah.
And we talked about how there, in the beginning, in the rigs, there are many different deities described, like Indra, Mitra, Varuna. And we talked about the mind is what's being referred to as Indra. And another name for Indra is Puruhuta, one who's invited many times. And when the external world is experienced through the senses, the mind is called Indra. And then when the Indriyas are won over and one understands that the Supreme Lord is everywhere, that mind is called Rudra. So the one Devata is described with two names, Indra and Rudra. And in the Vedas, everything begins as Devatas. And there may be some sense of fear at the beginning, but the Aryan intellect immediately puts out the fear and makes sure that feeling doesn't grow. So I think today we're starting with, in the Telugu, and it's the Samhita Bhagamantati Lonu.
Yeah. Samhita Bhagamantati Lonu, idiye Vedamullo Pratamamanu Prachinamanu Ainadi. So this line, Telugu, but
I'll read the English and then.
Yeah, you please.
Next, the Ekeshwara, one God. This axiom that there can be only one and not many is current in India from very ancient times. Even in the ancient Vedic and Samhita literature, this faith is already evident as an age-long belief. But the notion of a personal God struck the thinkers and practitioners of this land as rather elementary, a kind of unripe stage in spiritual progress. It did not satisfy their highest aspiration. This attitude found in the revelations of rishis has not been understood or appreciated by scholars and writers of other countries who have studied and commented on the Vedas and affiliated texts. They still dwell on the earlier belief in many gods or the later belief in one personal God. Ignorance of this kind brings a smile to the lips of the Hindu. I'm not sure if Uncle is able to translate at this moment.
Okay. So you want me to read Telugu?
Or Uncle, should we wait 15 minutes and then maybe
Yeah, we can
we'll
wait.
discuss, and then when Uncle joins, we can do the translation? Unless there's somebody else that can translate. Or Auntie, maybe you can just do the translation yourself, actually. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh.
సంహిత భాగమునంతటి లేను ఇదియే వేదముల్లో ప్రథమమును ప్రాచీనమును అయినది. అయితే ఆర్యులను ఇది తృప్తి పరుపజాలకపోయెను. This Ekeshwara Vada, that is only one God. There can be only one God. It has been very prevalent in ancient India, right from ancient times. But the notion of a personal God stuck there. That is what he says. Idi mikkili aparipakvamuga tochuta cheta bharatiyulu vidanadiri. This kind of thing, why he says Arilanu, I don't understand. We have to ask Arun about it. This idea of Ekeshwaravada was not, at that time, it was not appealing to people. Aparipakvamuga, it was found to be elementary, not mature feeling of one God. They did not understand. Antakanna unnatamani bharatiya buddhiki tochu bhavamu dasavaru parakraminchiri. So it did not satisfy the highest aspirations of Indians, of Bharatiyas. So it was not appreciated by scholars and writers of other countries who have studied and commented on the Vedas and affiliated texts. Okay. Antakana Unnatamani Bharatiya Buddhiki Tochu Bhavamudasa Varu Parakraminchiri. Here, Bhavamudasa means, emotional appeal of the others, other foreign interference. It became, they influenced the people's minds in such a way. Kani, Europe Deshastulu, Bharatiya Paramartha Saramaina, Vedamulunu Guruchi Vasina Gantamlulono, the foreigners who have written commentaries on our granthas, our scriptures, our Vedas, and our Rishis, the creations of our Rishis, the compositions of our Rishis. There is that bhav, that attitude, that bhavam, it is not found to be very popular. But they still dwell on the earlier belief in many gods, or the later belief in one personal God. In Telugu, it is quite different here. Let us wait for Arun to come.
Monday, is it okay for us to discuss only the first paragraph?
First paragraph you can begin.
We'll
engage ourselves.
Start discussing about that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the belief that there is only one God, that's Eka Ishvara, that was the belief right from the beginning. Even though this Aruna, Varuna, and Mitra, and Vayu, all these deities were worshipped in those days. People started believing without a fear. They used to worship them. Then later on, this idea of Ekeshwara was there. It was difficult for people to understand that there is only one God, but they had only their Ishtadevatas, like, many deities they believed in and they worshipped those deities. Yeah. You want to ask something, then you can ask.
In one line, it says, even in the ancient Vedic and Samhita literature, I know that the Samhitas, it's like a part of the Vedas. Is there something separate like Samhita literature?
Samhita, later on, it becomes, next is, Aranyaka is the third one. Samhita, I forget the name, second one. Aranyaka, then Upanishads, it comes. Brahmanas. Samhita, Brahmana. Then third one is Aranyaka. And then the fourth one is Upanishads, Vedanta. So the first part of Vedas are called Samhitas. That Samhitas describe these, at that time they had no individual deities like Rama, Krishna, and Shiva, Maruti. No. Only these elements. They appreciated the 5 elements, which were there, Vayu, Varuna, and Agni. All these elements were worshipped, and they started praising them. And then they thought, they were scared of this. There's a kind of fear in them that if they don't worship them, something bad will happen to them. That kind of belief was there in Samhita for the first part. So, but even though there was that belief there is only one God, not these small deities, but still people were not ready to believe in those days. Personal God was very much in vogue there.
So it's saying that, so the Samhita literature is just like the early part of the Vedic literature.
Yeah, early part of the first part of early part of literature is Samhita. Then Brahmana contains the mantras. Mantras, how to conduct the yagas, yagnas, and all those things next started. The first one was just wonderment, looking at this huge elements like water sheets and the huge mountains and the rainfall. All those were they were wonderstruck at these things. Only then they started praising them, and then in the next portion, Brahmana, there are mantras, Vedic mantras, which describe and which revere these deities.
You know, Auntie, I'm just thinking that line, even in the ancient Vedic Samhita, they had the belief of Keshwara, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know where this multiple gods came from then, if they had that belief. So somebody was describing, and that's how it's a many gods came like that, many form of God they are worshipping, because it's evidence that Ekeshwara, that's what they believe in. Right?
No, the idea was already there.
Yes.
There is only one God, not many. It was there. But still, in the beginning, Vedic period.
Oh, on that time
that
also
is the time.
Okay.
That is the time these deities were worshipped.
Yes. Oh,
But
okay.
but at the same time, the belief was also there.
Okay.
That only one God was there, not many. But still, people were not ready to take up that aspect of it.
Oh, okay. So according to the second paragraph, if you have this only these believe on multiple God, this is my understanding. That is a preliminary stage. So you had to grow.
They grow out of it.
Yeah.
Some thinkers and practitioners, they thought that this kind of personal God, and then we should live on, then try to rise above that. So they thought they should make some spiritual progress, and this stage was unripe. It was not a matured way of approaching the concept.
Yes. But at the same time, ignorance of this kind of brings a smile to the lips of the Hindus. The Hindus are the people who believe in different gods. So if you don't believe in Ekeshwara, they are not Hindus, kind of, right? Am I right?
No.
What did the last sentence says? The ignorance of this kind of bring a smile to the lips of the Hindu.
Smile. Here, Swami, what he says is, Parihasaspadam. It's just like a joke for them. Parihasam means it is just like a joke.
Yeah, that joke means the Hindus never believe there's many gods, kind of. It's only Keshwara, that kind of mindset supposed to be in Hindus. That's what Swami is trying to tell. Am I right, please?
Yeah, I think understanding as well. I think Swami is saying that scholars from other lands, when they came and they tried to study the Vedas, they only thought that the Hindus believed in many gods, or that they believed in one personal God. So they did not understand or realize that the Vedas were talking about the oneness of everything.
Yes.
Yeah, Aruna, this attitude, these writings of the foreigners who came and started writing and commenting on our Vedas. For example, Max Muller, Swami is going to talk about Max Muller. The other Europe, some scholars came from Europe, and they started studying our own scriptures, our Vedas, our Rishi's contributions, all those things they started studying. And they thought, why these people are, they either they believe in many gods or they believe in only one God. So this is silly, they thought. But actually, the real Hindus, ignorance, the Hindus believe that their views are not tenable. we cannot accept those ideas of the foreigners. Foreigners who came and wrote about all these things, we cannot accept them. That's how they think. That's
So
they started
Hindus
laughing.
believe there's no many gods. At the end, it's a Ekeshwara.
No, both beliefs. Some believed, earlier believed many gods, and later believed one personal God. What is this confusion? So they thought it was.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Some say that it's many gods. Some say it's only one Ishvara. Why this confusion? People, they thought like that. But Indians were quite firm in their belief that there is only one God.
Yes.
The same God takes many forms and they become personal gods and they can worship them in whatever way they like. That's what.
That understanding they didn't have. Good. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. In Telugu, it's completely. I was also in this paragraph. I was not very sure what it is written. సగుణ సాకార భావమును కన్నా ఉన్నతకు ఈశ్వర భావమే లేదని ఉగ్గుపాలతో నేర్చిన వారు ప్రాచీన తత్వ విచారులు. The ancient people believed, they know that there is only one Ishvara. Yeah, there is only one Ishvara.
Auntie, can you see how it's in Telugu? The first 3 lines of the second paragraph. But the notion of a personal God struck the thinkers and practitioners of this land as a rather elementary, a kind of unripe stage in spiritual progress.
So Shivani, question is,
Can you clarify like how it's in Telugu? I'm not getting this in like.
okay.
I understood the rest of the part how you explained, but this is, yeah.
The belief in personal gods, the belief in Ishtadevatas and worshipping them like that is very elementary step in a spiritual progress. Thinkers thought that like that. So when there is only the belief that there is only one God, we should go along with that. Instead of that, the notion, this Vayu is very close to me, Varuna is very close to me, or I worship only Agni. This kind of personal these things to such gods, such deities rather. It is rather very elementary step in the spiritual progress of person. When are we going to have that faith that there is only one God and these are only the different forms of that? He assumes several forms to as functional to these functions. Am I clear? I don't know.
Yes, you are. Thank you, Auntie.
Is it that line, Auntie? Idi Mikkili Apari Akwa?
Aparipakvam means very immature, unripe. Pakvam means ripe. Aparipakvam, it's not fully ripe. Not fully ripe.
So what is Swami saying there in Telugu? The previous line, like what is he saying is unripe there?
That ఇది మిక్కిలి అపరిపక్వగా తోచుట చేత భారతీయులు విడనాడిది. That previous line is అయితే ఆర్యులను ఇది తృప్తి పరపజాలకపోయెను. It did not satisfy the audience. What did not satisfy the audience? The idea that there are many gods. Those gods to worship. That idea, that portion of this thing, they did not agree. It did not satisfy them, rather.
Okay. So Swami's not saying anything about a personal God. He's talking about the many different gods like Varuna and all of that.
Yeah. See, the problem came when people got scared and they started asking forgiveness to from such gods, because they thought, they are not satisfying them, they are not pleasing them, and they are getting angry with us. Such kind of feelings had come up. But at the same time, some thinkers were there. So they thought this kind of fear mongering and this is not good for our spiritual progress. We should have only one God, and then we have to have that faith in him. Sai Ram, the sense of these two paragraphs is, in the beginning, in Samhita also, they refer, the literature refers to small deities that we have discussed. And this kind of personal attachment to such personal gods will not be a proper step in our spiritual progress. Some people, some thinkers thought like that. So they, even in the literature, even the commentaries written by European invaders, European scholars, I should say, scholars, what they wrote was, there are many gods and there is one personal God. There people are getting confused. What is this? They were asking, they commented like this on Vedas. But this ignorance on the part of the Westerners, on the part of those writers, was really funny for the scholars here. They knew what they were talking about. They knew that this personal gods only, a few people thought that those personal gods are very important for them. But only one God, there is only one personal God. That belief was very much prevalent in those days. And so it was laughed at, it was scoffed at by some thinkers, Indian thinkers here.
Is this line as part of this paragraph as well in Telugu, the Saguna Sakara Bhavam?
That is not written here. That's not. Saguna Sakara Bhavam kanna unnatamagu Ishwara Bhavame ledani uggupaluto nerchina varu prachina tattva vicharaparulu Bharatiya Rushulu. See, that line is not translated. Sorry, Arun.
Sai Ram, so I was listening and I couldn't talk. See, my understanding, I will say, I think based on the discussions which are happening, is that in the Bharatiya thought, the many gods and single god is only a result of an unripened state of a devotee. But the rishis are of the view that have always been of the view that there's only one.
Okay.
Among Bharatiyas, there are still people thinking there are many gods. But that state is only aparipakva. That means it is not a ripened stage of, that means they are children in the path of infants, in the path of spirituality.
Yeah.
So this is the understanding of the rishis. The rishis always knew there is only one. So there are many personal gods. There is one personal god. And the one personal god was something which the rishis subscribed to. And so there's only from a Saguna Sakara perspective, there's only one personal god. Or Saguna perspective.
Arun,
not Sakara.
Okay.
Sakara.
How can you translate this line? Saguna,
Okay.
సగుణ సాకార భావము కన్నా ఉన్నతముగు ఈశ్వర భావమే లేదని ఉగ్గుపాలుతో నేర్చిన వారు ప్రాచీన తత్వ విచారపరులు. ఉగ్గుపాలు అంటే
so that means, see, the Prachina Rishis thought Saguna Sakara, there is nothing greater than Saguna Sakara. That's what that says. That's what the Prachina Rishis, the ancient Rishis, felt. So, according to them, the Saguna Sakara is also one of the highest states of, whereas in the other religions, they could not even understand that there is Saguna Sakara. But the Rishis felt the Saguna Sakara is one of the highest states, highest understanding.
This line, please note this.
Okay.
Saguna Sakara Bhavamu Kanna.
So there is not above the Saguna Sakara.
Unnatamagu Ishvara Bhavam.
The Ishvara Bhava, which is supreme. Okay.
లేదని ఎందుకు వై ఇస్ దిస్ లేదని ఉగ్గుపాలతో నేర్చిన వారు ప్రాచీన తత్వ విచారపరులు.
So for them, see, the Ishvara Bhava is not above the Saguna Sakara. See, the Ishvara Bhava, it is not higher compared to Saguna Sakara, was what the Rishis
thought
view was.
You know, the ledani should be taken here into that. Saguna Sakara Bhava, Unnatamagu Ishvara Bhavam, వేరే ఏది లేదు. There is nothing more than nothing more than Ishvara Bhava. That is what
Saguna Sakara.
Yeah, I was little confused about that.
So the thing is, according to the Rishis, the Saguna Sakara is a very high one. There is no Ishvara Bhava which is beyond that.
Oh, yeah, you can link that up.
Yes. There is no Ishvara Bhava beyond the Saguna Sakara.
Sakara Bhava.
Because Ishvara Bhava itself is Saguna Sakara only. See, the Ishvara is from Avyakta state, it has become a Vyakta state.
Vyakta state.
So that means it is manifest. The manifest form is Saguna Sakara. So there is no manifest form which is beyond the Saguna and Sakara. I think that's what the Rishis very strongly believed. That's the statement. That's the way I understand that statement. See, many people think Nirguna Nirakara is higher than Saguna Sakara.
Yeah.
But according to Rishi's view, Saguna Sakara, there cannot be anything greater than Saguna Sakara. That means the Ishvara Tattvam which they visualized was Saguna Sakara as well as Nirguna Nirakara. Both existed at the same time, and so Saguna Sakara is also, it's not that it's any way inferior. That's the way I understand that statement. Okay, because see, the other religions felt, oh, Saguna Sakara means something lower gods, you know, they are not the real God type of thing. But according to the Rishis, Saguna Sakara is one of the highest. But then the concept of many gods is something which is aparipakva, which is people who are not ripening, in the ripening process, the early processes, before they ripen, they may think there are many gods. Yeah. But though some of these earlier, not so mature people think so, the Rishis were always confident that there's only one. But what the Westerners thought was, oh, these people, initially thought like that. So Vedas they slowly progressed. You know, that's the way the Western scholars thought, which was very laughable for the Rishis. Yeah. For the Hindu, the real Hindu who understands there's only one God. For him, it's like, you know, when we go to a school, there are people in grade 1, there are people in the higher classes. So that has always been there. Okay, that will always be there also. But even today, there are people in the aparipakwa state, but then there are people with the paripakwa state. There are people who, so this has always been there since the time of the Vedas, which is what Swami is telling. But the Westerners did not understand this. So they say, oh, the Rig Veda period, people were very, very scared. then later on they understood. Things like that they have been telling. And sometimes the other religious people also say, these people learned that there's only one God from us. That's also something which people say, which is laughable for the rishis or the Hindu. That's what Swami said.
This line, భారతీయ పరమార్థ సారమైన వేదములను కూర్చి వ్రాసిన గ్రంథములలోను వేద విమర్శన గ్రంథములలోను ఋషుల రచనలోను ఆ పురాతన భావము నిండియుండినట్లు కనిపించెను. That line what Swami is trying to tell here is the Bharatiya యూరోప్ దేశస్థులు భారతీయ పరమార్థ సారమైన వేదములను గురించి they have written many granthas, they have commented on the Veda, they have
written some criticisms, some things like that.
But this Puratana Bhava here means that personal gods and then many gods, this attitude of those people. Puratana Bhavamu nindi undinatlu kanupinchenu. It looks like written like that.
Yes. So you see, the only foreigner who came and commented on the Vedas felt in the Vedic time there were only many gods.
Many gods.
People were scared. Okay, they could not even understand that there is a one God principle was there even from the Vedas time. So according to them, Vedas are full of many gods. So, that is the way they saw. That is what they saw. It is full of that multiplicity of gods. Is that primitive view was full in the Vedas? That is what they saw, and that's what they saw, and they are saying that's what they are seeing. That's the way they have written all their commentaries, criticisms, and analysis of the Vedas.
But this was laughable by thinkers who really had that idea.
Understanding. Yeah, the Hindus found it very laughable.
Are we able to do the translation line by line, Uncle, if you're able to do that now?
Yeah, we can try.
Okay. I will start from that. Samhita భాగమంతటిలోను ఇదియే వేదములలో ప్రథమమును ప్రాచీనమును అయినది.
So the Samhitas are the ancient and the primary in the Vedas.
అయితే ఆర్యులను ఇది తృప్తి పరపజాలకపోయెను.
For the Aryans, this was not satisfactory.
ఇది మిక్కిలి అపరిపక్వ భావముగా తోచుట చేత భారతీయులు విడనాడి.
So they realized that this is very unripe state of perception. They gave up.
అంతకన్నా ఉన్నతమని భారతీయ బుద్ధికి తోచు భావము దశ వారు పరాక్రమించిరి. అంతకన్నా
so than this, there is something which is superior. That power, that feeling is, Auntie, what is it?
వారు పరాక్రమించిరి. పరాక్రమం అంటే
so they sort of say they sort of won over, type of thing. They commanded that type of view. Parakraminchi means it was like something like a battle actually, which they won over.
Parakrama means to show their strength.
Valor. They showed the valor. So it was a valorous conclusion that there is something superior to it.
కానీ యూరోప్ దేశస్థులు భారతీయ పరమార్థ సారమైన వేదములను గురించి వ్రాసిన గ్రంథములో వేద విమర్శన గ్రంథములోను ఋషుల రచనలోను ఆ పురాతన భావము నిండియుండినట్లు కనిపించెను.
So for the European scholars who analyzed, criticized, and commented on these Vedas, they felt that the inter-Vedic text was filled with this kind of a primitive view of many gods.
Many gods, yeah. హిందువుకు ఇది పరిహాస్యాస్పదముగా తోచును.
For the Hindu, this is a very laughable opinion of the Europeans.
సగుణ సాకార భావము కన్నా ఉన్నతముకు ఈశ్వర భావమే లేదని ఉగ్గుపాలుతో నేర్చిన వారు ప్రాచీన తత్వ విచారపరులు భారతీయ ఋషులు.
So the rishis and the people who were exemplary in the thought process of philosophy, they felt there's nothing higher than the Saguna Sakara form in the Ishvara Bhava.
ఉగ్గుపాలుతో నేర్చిన వారు means right from childhood, right from infants who drink breast milk.
Uggupalu means Pal Valira at a stage, their milk.
They learned
from the time they drank milk. From
Yeah.
the time they drank.
So sorry, the rishis from the time that they were
So
children.
there were infant rishis also who felt that way. So rishis from the infancy, they felt that, that means even at the early stage, they were able to come to terms with that idea of oneness with God, that Saguna Sakara is the supreme Ishvara Bhava.
There is nothing higher than
There's
that.
nothing higher.
Okay.
Okay.
I
think
hope it is clear.
yes, I think when they say personal God, is that what they mean by Saguna Sakara?
See, personal God means exactly. Personal God means you give a personality to the God. So if it's Saguna Sakara. Sakara means as soon as you give a body, person, something which is manifest in a body or a form.
You give a form.
So that is form. That is personal. You make the God a person, not something impersonal. Impersonal means it doesn't have a persona. It is just, you can't just limit it to something. It's the concept of impersonal God. Personal God means you say Narayana. Narayana has this form. He has these qualities. So that means you have created a person out of God. But the Ishvara Bhava is personal. See, as soon as something becomes Vyakta or it becomes manifest, that is with Saguna and with its Sakara. It has a form, it has gunas, characteristics. But that is only one aspect of that Parabrahman is the way rishis looked at. The rishis always looked at Parabrahman as someone who has Saguna Sakara as well as Nirguna Nirvana. So from an Ishvara perspective, which is Vyakta or that is manifest, Saguna Sakara is the highest. There is nothing greater than. That's their view.
Yeah.
That's a little different from what the English is saying, because in
Okay, but what's the English saying?
the English is saying that they're talking about the Europeans and the people from other countries who have come. They still
Yes.
dwell on the earlier belief in many gods or the later belief in one personal God. Ignorance of this kind brings a smile to the lips of the Bharatiya.
Yeah, the translation is a bit, because the Puratana, the word Puratana is there, I think, in Telugu. Puratana means not earlier. See, Puratana also can mean primitive understanding. That's the way the Europeans saw that. They felt there was a primitive view in the Vedas, which actually gradually changed. But the Vedas, Rig and all, there are many gods, which is actually primitive. That's the way the Europeans thought. But the real person, real Hindu who understood it, found it laughable.
So the real Hindu thought that there is nothing higher than having the personal God when it comes to something that's Vyakta or manifest.
Yeah, I think there were 2 points, I think, which Hindus held on to. One is there was only one God from time immemorial, even in the Vedas. Number one. Number two, Saguna Sakara is the highest form of Bhava of an Ishvara also. That also they had held the belief. Because as soon as you say Ishvara, there is Saguna and Sakara. Okay. But at the same time, the Lord is unmanifest also. The 3/4 of the Lord is unmanifest. 1/4 of the Lord is manifest. But the manifest form of the Lord is also very high. Form is high and the nature is high, but the individual may not understand or experience the unmanifest. That's the difference. That is something to do with the aspirant, nothing to do with God. See, for example, See, Swami is there, okay? Avatar. We say Swami is God. Many people will find it very difficult to digest. Because we should understand that what is manifest, the form and the name is supreme. At the same time, there is something which is unmanifest within, which may not be perceivable by our senses. That is our limitation. So this is the concept of Saguna Sadhu. So when we worship Swami, they will say, oh, it is only a human God, you have to find some different God, God is not that, people will say. But for a devotee, there's conviction that this. So when Rama came, the rishis knew that this is Parabrahman. It's equivalent to Parabrahman. There's nothing short of it. So that is the way rishis like Vashishta, Vishwamitra, all of them felt. They saw that as the highest form which they can perceive from a sensory perspective and experience in this world. I think so. That's what Swami is trying to point. At the same time, these rishis also were aware there's an unmanifest part of this same which is manifest, which is not easy for us to grasp other than experience.
Okay.
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 So I just wanted to ask something here. It's in this sentence, at the early they believed as a many gods. Later one personal God. I thought they believed there are so many gods, and later the people has taken one Ishtadeva kind of one God. Kind of they people are writing about it like a many God. Then they will take up one. But that is a misunderstanding in the Hindus' point of view. They believe as a Ekeshwara, that's as one God. But the way they understand the many gods and personal God, they didn't realize that the Hindus always takes as a Ekeshwara. In many gods also they see oneness, and one personal God also they see the one.
Aruna, this many gods and one personal gods are all opinion of the Europeans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They thought so. But actually, it is ignorance on the part of those writers, those commentators. That's what it brings laughter to us, laughter to the great scholars. Yeah.
Okay.
Sister, even today, 90% of the Hindus think there are many gods.
Yeah.
Okay. Even today.
Yes.
But there are people who are ripe, who see there's only one God. Today also that exists. Okay. The same thing existed in the Vedic time also. Okay. Vedic time also there were people who were unripe, who did not have full understanding among Hindus, who saw many gods, who thought of many gods. But at the same time, the Vedas, when they spoke about it, they also spoke about the one God, which the unripe Hindu did not understand then. The unripe Hindu doesn't understand even today. But from a Shruti perspective, from the real Hindu perspective, the one who is knowledgeable, the one who is ripened, the one God existed from time immemorial.
Yeah.
From the time the Vedas came, that one God has existed. That understanding of one God has existed, even among rishis who were infants.
Yes.
Okay. But the thing is, at that time also, there were people who thought God is many among Hindus. Why they thought? Well, they were still in the early stages of development. That exists even today. There are today most Hindus saying, oh, I went to pray to Vishnu, I went and prayed to Sai Baba, I went to Durga. Like that they will say, and they think they are different. Even today it exists. But that doesn't mean the Hindu belief only has one. Into the Hindu belief itself, it has many gods. No, that is understanding of some unripe Hindus. It exists even today. Okay, so it's the same thing there. But the Western scholars thought in the Vedic time that one God concept did not exist. In the Vedic time, there were only many gods. Later, they all understood, and then they came to one God. Okay, and that one God with form and name, that is inferior to what they think is God. which is unmanifest. So these are theories of the European mind which try to analyze the Hindu concept.
But the rishis
I
show
hope,
there are so many, like Lord is pervaded everywhere. So they are seeing in a different formula and they see the oneness there. That which,
the ripened rishi.
yeah,
The
which
ripe
they didn't
rishis
see
have.
there.
Yes. Okay, so the problem is sometimes today's Hindu also is reading what the Europeans have written. They don't study their own scriptures properly from people who know the knowledge, have the knowledge. So this is the problem.
Yes.
So most Hindus today are Western educated only. And that is the fundamental flaw in all this. So Swami is trying to clarify that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
They would rather go to a Western person's translation of Bhagavad Gita to understand rather than our own. Many scholars have written commentaries and then translations of Bhagavad Gita. They won't read this. They will go to the next. Okay.
Sorry, just one question. So we talked about how there's the Samhitas, the Brahmanas, and then Aranyakas.
Yes.
So those exist in each of the 4 Vedas. Is that correct? Like in Rig, Yajur?
Yes. Yes.
And then when
So in the Samhita portion, there seems to be some multiplicity in the Samhita portion. But in the Upanishads, it is all one. So all the Rig Veda also had Upanishads.
All the Vedas have the 4 parts.
Upanishads, okay. So that's what Swami's. So Samhita portion was not satisfactory for the Rishi. Was a ripe Rishi, it was not satisfactory. So that is why they gave more importance to the Upanishad. Jnana. That's what Swami said.
And so Swami saying they gave it up, is that right? They gave up the Samhita
Yeah,
portion?
so they Swami, I think Telugulo, Swami, what's the exact word, auntie?
Yeah. Aparipakva bhavamuga tochuta cheta bharatiyilu vidanadidi.
So they tried to give that up, give that kind of a thought. See, even earlier Swami said, when they had fear that the Bharatiya thought right away got rid of it. So earlier also Swami has said that. So that means the thought, even if it comes, it will not last for too long. In the Hindu mind, I think that's what Swami says earlier. So it's something similar. So Samhita, there was some different gods described, but quickly they realized that this is pretty unright, and they moved on.
And when we're trying to understand like the, I don't know if it can be understood in this way, like just in a chronologic order, like was Rig Veda was the earliest, and then Yajur, Sama, Atharvana. But even in those other later versions, there was also a Samhita portion. Is that right? Or how do you kind of understand it?
So the understanding is Rig in terms of chronologically, Rig is a little earlier than the others. Yes. But the Rig Veda had all the 4 parts. In Rig also, there were Samhita, there were Upanishads.
So then in the Yajur Veda also, there's another Samhita portion where there is also this multiplicity.
Exactly.
Was there overlap in the time?
Pardon?
Were there overlap in the times when these were, I guess, written down?
There may have been overlaps. The Samhitas across all Vedas, the same mantras appear.
Oh, it's the same?
See, you should understand everything but poetry. Yajus is prose. Sama is poetry, song.
Musical note.
Musical. So it is different way the same mantras were also expressed. You should understand. So some of the contents in all these 3 is exactly identical, but the medium in which it has been expressed is slightly different. One is poetry, one is prose, one is song.
Oh, okay.
Can I add a few?
Yes, Andy, please go.
See, when Vedavyasa codified these Vedas, he found all the Veda mantras together in a great jumble. So he
Yes.
divided the whole Veda, the same ideas,
Catalog.
same themes when he found in different ways. So he put everything in one Veda, and the other themes which he found, he did it in the other Vedas. So all the 4 Vedas, actually 3 Vedas, and whatever was left over in Atharva Veda, it comes. But so this Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishads, they are all similar in all the Vedas. I think so.
Yes, Auntie, you are right. Because Veda Vyasa cataloged them in such a way, it's easy for people to study them. That was the whole purpose of what he did. But if you look at Rig Veda, you will find some Yajus there, some Sama there also.
Yeah.
If you take Yajur Veda, you will find some Rigs in the Yajur Veda also.
Yeah.
But predominantly, they were of a certain category, that's all.
Okay.
But as Auntie said, Veda Vyasa catalog so that people can study and keep it going. So, according to the nature of his disciple, he gave each disciple, say, you protect this. You teach your students this. So that way he felt the Vedas could be preserved and propagated properly. Because not everyone can study all the Vedas from all types. So that's the service Veda Vyasa, which Swami has actually spoken about in other places.
And do you think, because like when we look at other religions that believe in one God, there's this strong feeling that if you don't believe in that God, then you're condemned. But in Hinduism, though that there's the thought of many gods, it seems like there's more harmony. Like people are not trying to convert to other people as much, I feel. I don't know. So is there something that this understanding of the ancient rishis, do you think it's responsible for that difference?
I would not say, so what happened to the other religions? Actually, they believe in many gods. Okay. Even though they say they believe in one God, they believe there are many gods. If you talk to a Christian, he will say, are you worshipping my God or your God? So that means they recognize there are some outside gods also. Okay. All religions, if you talk to a Muslim, will say, I speak praying to Allah or somebody else. But a Hindu, whether they are worshipping Allah or Jesus, the real Hindu will say you are worshipping the same God, because there cannot be many gods. So that is the real Sanatana Dharma view. If you are just calling that same God with a different name, but that God is no different than the God which I am praying to, is the belief of the Sanatana Dharma. Okay. So the thing is, they also believe many gods, but they think the God which they are praying to is superior to every other God. The other gods are less powerful. That's the way they think. So actually, they don't believe it. They don't have the conviction that there's only one. They think the God, the limited God which they have viewed or perceived, is the supreme, but there are other gods, but those gods are not as strong as their God. This is what the other, so there is some improper understanding of the concept of one God in other religions. This is the reality.
Right. So I guess if they truly believe that there was only one God, then like even if somebody was praying to a different God, they would realize that they're still praying to the same God.
Exactly. With a different name, they will still feel the same. See, for them, if you take a Christian, he will say, if you don't believe that Jesus is God, Jesus is the only God, you are a sinner. Okay. So they are limiting God to the name Jesus. Okay. Whereas a Hindu thought will not say that. Hindu will say, you just have given a different name to the same God. So you can see the unripeness of the other religious idea, even in terms of one.
This reminds.
Kalyani, it is okay. Sorry. it is this kind of problem is there even within Hindus. See, if you talk to Vaishnava, strong Vaishnava, you'll say only Vishnu is God. Shiva is not God. If you strong Shaiva, it also say, oh, Shiva is the only God. See, this was the problem which Adi Shankara encountered, and he tried to bring some synthesis. That is because they are all unripened view even within Hindus. Okay, I hope I will stop. I will stop now. I don't know, Shivani wanted to say something.
No, I would just want to say that we have so many experiences where people have called Swami as a Christian also call and different, and Swami appeared, right? So it's just
Yes.
talking about that. Call me with any name, but with full devotion, he will appear. So it's basically that's what we are discussing as well.
Yes. See, this is, I mean, a little, slightly, we should understand that also. See, there are many religious people who came to Swami. They feel that he's divine. But even these people, they are sometimes unable to give up that narrow understanding of religion. So it so happened in the Western world, they said, some of what you are doing is Hindu, so it's not, don't bring it here because it cannot be accepted by other religions. So this is something which caused a lot of problem in the Western world, even within the Sai organization. So the thing is, they were unable to synthesize this idea of Swami, even the concept of Sarva Dharma as one Dharma. The religion of one religion was not acceptable to them, even though they stand on stages and talk about all this. They still feel if all these religions are different, all these gods are different, but they are one. And so they are unable to synthesize that. That is because of the training and the way they have grown up in a certain faith system. To some extent, they feel it's superior also. This is a problem even within the aparipakwa understanding or the unripe understanding, even within the Sai organization. This was a result of that is why when some of the people who were part of SSIO were asked about it, they still wanted to continue in that stream. So everyone who is associated with SSIO, all the children who are growing will never understand this real concept which Swami has tried to convey, which is conveyed in the Sathya Sai Vahini. And people felt slighted. So for example, if I am born as a Christian, I want to somehow say, no, Christian faith is the right one. But Swami has already clearly stated, it is also will take you, but you have to understand the oneness of all religions. And so this is an eternal struggle in human evolution in the spiritual. Kalyani, I don't know if I answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
Should we go to the other place?
Yeah. Really speaking, even those who learn in their mother's laps to put faith in a God equipped with attributes known by a name and having a recognizable form have later to rise up to a stage higher than this and become aware of the one that is spoken of as having many names and many forms. The sadhanas, spiritual practices, are directed to the realization of this truth. The one, in him alone is all this flux, all this changing cosmos established. Sorry, Auntie.
No. Please go ahead.
He is the guide and guardian of every consciousness. All such denotations touch only the fringe of the one. Westerners said that the intelligence of man can succeed in this venture, but the seekers of this land showed a heroism that could not be measured or limited. This is a fact that cannot be but accepted. Western philosophers, renowned for their daring flights into the realms of the spirit, have shown only a tiny spark of this heroism. So they are amazed at the speculative and experiential heights reached by the sages of India. This feeling of wonder has been charmingly expressed by Professor Max Mueller. Into whatever unknown realms of experience their causative and positive inquiry led them, the Indian seekers ventured boldly therein. They never hesitated to discard, for the sake of success in this adventure, whatever they felt as an encumbrance. They were not affected by fear of how others might judge them. Max Mueller exhorted people to involve themselves in Bharatya Paramartha Vahini, the nectarine stream of the search for the Supreme, flowing in India. For he felt the Indian sadhakas pursued the path of right, the path of truth.
Okay.
Hello.
Auntie Telugu, you want to read, Auntie?
నిజముగా సంహితాకాలము దాటుట తోడనే సంహితా భావమున నిండి ఉన్న ఏకేశ్వర భావము పనికి మాలిదనియు it's a quite long sentence. Let me read.
Okay.
నిజముగా సంహితాకాలము దాటుట తోడనే.
In really speaking, as soon as the Samhita period passed,
సంహితా భావమున నిండి ఉన్న ఏకేశ్వర భావము,
the one God concept which was present within the Samhitas,
పనికి మాలినదనియు వేదాంతులకును జిజ్ఞాసులకు అది ఆదరణార్హము కాదనియు. ఎన్నో ரொம்ப பெரிய సెంటెన్స్ ఇది. ఓకే, ఐ విల్ టు ఫైండ్. ఏకేశ్వర భావం పనికి మాలినదనియు
that one form of Ishvara was not of much use, something like that. Panikimali.
It's not of use.
Not of much use.
వేదాంతులకును జిజ్ఞాసులకును అది ఆదరణార్హము కాదు అనియు.
So for the people who were of the Vedantins, who had gone to the highest end of understanding of the Vedas, it didn't seem very what's the word which is used? It is not very supportive.
ఆదరణార్హము.
It is not
it's not fit for
supporting their understanding.
అని తలచి అంతకన్నా తాత్వికమును అంతకన్నా లోకాతీతమును.
So they pursued some philosophy which is beyond that, as also something which is beyond the world.
అగు భావమును సాధించుటకై,
to understand that, attain that state,
భారతీయులు పాడుపడ్రి.
They made great efforts to do that.
ఏకేశ్వర భావము అతనియందే జగత్తంతయును నిలిచి ఉన్నది.
That this one God, in him the entire creation is established.
సర్వచిత్తములకు నీవే కాపరివి.
You are the
residing. You are residing.
You are the one who resides in all chittas, all hearts.
మున్నగు వర్ణనములు ఎన్నియో చేసిరి.
They made such descriptions in many different ways in similar vein.
కేవలము మానవ బుద్ధిని పరిమితమైనదిగా పాశ్చాత్యులు భావించిరి.
So the Westerners thought this mind is something which is which limited.
పరిమితమైనది.
Limited.
పాశ్చాత్యులు భావించిరి. They thought like that. భారతీయులు తత్వ విచారణ విషయమున నిరంకుశ సాహసమును చూపిరని అంగీకరించక తప్పదు.
So the Bharatiyas showed great valor and fearlessness in pursuing this thought.
తత్వ విచారణ, that is this.
That's the inquiry of the real truth.
Reality. వారి సాహసిక భావాగ్ని జాలలోని స్వల్ప కణమే Vari Sahasika Bhavagni Jwala.
The courageous efforts or valorous efforts or adventurous nature also you can say.
Fiery emotions, Bhavagni Jala.
Bhavagni, okay. Fiery emotions, okay. Now, Sahasam, I was telling, Sahasam and Bhavagni. So they had certain adventurous and valorous and very fierce effort.
Dani swalpa kaname paschatya deshapu tattva vicharaparulo.
So compared to that, only a small aspect of that only was present with the Western philosophers. Western
thinkers. Dhirata Vikhyati Nandina Varini Kudanu Berpu Gulpa Jali Unnadi.
So Swami has used the word, very, see, as if they're warriors who were able to fight wage any battle to understand the truth. That kind of fierceness, valor, courage is just incomparable, and the Westerners possess only a fraction of it.
The Varini Kuda Verupu Golappa Jali Unnadi. That means
that means people started even hating that, type of thing.
Yeah.
Verupu? Yes.
Did she read Dinine Professor Max Muller?
Yes.
Not yet. I see. Okay.
Dinine Professor Max Muller Manoharamuga Palikeno.
This has been very beautifully stated by Professor Max Muller.
Sahetuka vicharamu ee dhirul nenta aparichita bhava kshetramuలకు konipoyeno వార అచ్చటికి పోవ సాహసించిది. Sahetuka.
So where Sahetu means with whatever reasoning, auntie. Sahetuka.
Reason. Sahetu.
So the reasoning, they have taken it to such heights or such extent, which a human mind can take it, that they have taken it. That's what Max Muller has stated.
Yeah. That you stop, no?
Yes, auntie.
There
was another paragraph even more that I read, I think, right?
We should discuss only up to this first. Let us just, then we can go to the next one.
Yeah, there's so much to discuss in this also.
Here. And the language Swami has written in a very, very difficult Telugu. First 2-3 lines, it's okay. Nijamuga Sanhita Kalamu Datuta Todane Sanhita Bhavamana Nindi Ekeshwar Bhavamu Panki Malidaniyo Vedantulakunu Jignasuluku Adi Adarhana Kadani Talanchi Antakanna Tachikamana Antakanna Loka. Oh. So some Bharatiyas, they thought that.
Why is it saying that they thought the Ekeshwara Bhava was not of much use?
Yeah, I also did not understand that.
See, the thing is that Ekeshwara Bhava is personal God. But if you go to the Upanishads, it has gone beyond the Vyakta. It has gone touch the Avyakta also. Hello?
Arun? Yes. Ekeshwara means one God, oneness.
Yes, one God. But Ishvara is only, see, Eka Ishvara is only about Saguna Sakara.
Okay.
See, the Saguna Sakara of the Ishvara, because Ishvara is with Saguna Sakara, they wanted to go to the state of Parabrahman. So, see, that's why Swami says, they showed great valor, means they were able to accept that we have to break this and go further. They were able to break free from that also, to reach a point where they were able to explore the Nirguna Nirakara, which is what the Upanishads say. So in the Samhita Bhava, it's all about Saguna Sakara, which describes. But when they went from there to the Upanishads, they went past that limited view of the Ekeshwara. Ekeshwara is highest. but their understanding of Ekeshvara was limited in the Samhitas. So they went beyond, and to go there, they did not fear even to discard some of the things which were limiting them. But in the Western thinking, they were unable to get to that point of even to discard what they believed in to reach such heights of reasoning. So which is what Swami is saying. So from Samhita to Upanishads, it is as if, you get past the Saguna Sakara and go, and the limitations imposed by the Saguna Sakara. So that's what Swami is saying. They showed great valor in even confronting that limitation of the Ekeshvara Bhava present in the Samhita.
So is that like how Ramakrishna had to cut the image of
Exactly. Cut the image, the buddhi, through the buddhi, he cut the limited understanding of Kali. Okay, because he could not perceive the unmanifest while he was worshipping the manifest Kali. It was not that the manifest Kali was discarded. He was able to go beyond that. That his limiting Kali to that form was broken. So that required some courage, some battle with his own limited understanding.
Is that going from form to formless?
Yes. Saguna Sakara to Nirguna Nirakara. It's not discarding of the Saguna Sakara. It is expanding from the Saguna Sakara into Nirguna Nirakara to encompass that as well. Our understanding should encompass that. So this is the transition from Samhita to Upanishads. To do this, Swami says they were dhira, sahasa, what is it? Bhavagni, like that Swami has used certain words, which sort of shows that fierce, determined, valorous battle with their own intellect in trying to reason, which the rishis showed. That's what Swami is saying. Yes, Kalyani.
And then the next sentence where Swami is saying Ekeshvara Bhavamu Atini Ande Jagat, that one, Jagatan Tayunu.
Auntie, you can read.
Jagatantayo nilachi unnadi.
So the entire world is actually established that one Ekeshwara. See, what Swami is saying, that Ekeshwara is not a form, a limited form. So you have to expand that form to encompass the entire creation. The entire creation is within that one form. That's what Swami says. Okay.
So
Jagatanta, see, he's telling Swami, I think two things he's saying. The entire creation is within that, and that Ekeshwara is present in every heart. Sorry, Auntie, those are the two things. La?
yeah.
I don't know, I missed Auntie.
I think her video's off. Maybe I'm not.
Okay, it's fine.
She had to step away.
Okay.
So earlier in the previous paragraph of Swami saying they felt there's nothing higher than the Saguna Sakara form in the Ishvara Bhava.
Yes.
So how do we put all this together? So first they felt there's nothing higher.
See, Saguna Sakara is the highest. Okay. But the rishis felt that their understanding of the Ishvara Tattva itself is not so complete. Their understanding of the Ishvara Tattva, they had to expand that to encompass much more. Because generally personal God means, for example, if you take other religions, they feel, that God is somewhere in some heaven, sitting somewhere. Okay. So that means you're limiting that God to a specific physical location. So which Hindus also, in the Samhita, that's the way that is perceived. You perceive that personal God is somewhere in a limited capacity somewhere. But then they said that understanding is not right. Then they said that person Ishvara is expanding to cover the entire universe. And that personal Ishvara is present in every heart. See, once you come to that understanding, no religion is wrong. Because everyone is praying to the same God. So, what here is happening is, yes, Ishvara is supreme, but their understanding, which was present in the Samhita, was limited in some way. They expanded that to cover the entire creation, entire universe, and also felt that God is present in every heart in this world. So that expansiveness of understanding is what happened between Samhita and the
Upanishads.
Upanishads, yes.
Yeah, Arun,
Yes, Auntie.
you said that Ekeshwara means Saguna Sakara Atmaka.
Yes, yes.
That means only the vector form of the manifested form of the Lord. You have
Yes.
seen that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but even the manifested form, when we say it expands, the entire creation is within that, means the manifested creation itself is within that. So that means you have expanded that God to encompass everyone, everything in this creation. So we are still in the Saguna Sakara stage only. When we say the entire creation is in God, Ishvara, we are only referring to the Saguna Sakara creation is encompassed by the Ishvara which we pray to. And the same Saguna Sakara Ishvara is present within all the entire Saguna Sakara existent living beings. So that way, their understanding of the Saguna Sakara Ishvara expanded to encompass the entire creation, which is perceived in Nama Rupa with Saguna Sakara by all of us. So now, even now, we are only still in the sphere of Saguna Sakara.
This sentence when it says, భారతీయులు ఈ భావమును సాధించుటకై పాటుపడిరి. What is the bhava? ఏకేశ్వర భావం పనికి మాలదనియో, it's not useful to them. వేదాంతులకును జిజ్ఞాసులకును అది ఆదరణ అర్హము కాదనియో తలచి, అంతకన్నా తాత్వికమును అంతకన్నా లోకాతీతమును అగు భావమును సాధించుటకై భారతీయులు పాటుపడిరి.
So basic, their feeling, their understanding, the feeling which they had during the Samhita period was limiting that Ekeshwara also.
Okay.
So they made great efforts to go beyond that, because that is their bhava only is changing. Their bhava of the Ishvara, to expand that, they made great efforts. A lot of effort they put. Partipatichari means they worked very hard on it.
Yeah.
To expand, and then Swami comes to this, that the entire creation is within that Ishvara, and that Ishvara is present in every heart and every being. Sari auntie, appadithan irukku.
Solungo.
I know. Again, you had to read the Telugu.
I have to read it again.
I don't have the text in front of me, so.
Sorry then.
Yes.
Next week, can we continue the same thing, or?
Yeah, I think we can continue next week. I think, what's the time? 4:24.
4:24.
If anyone has any question on whatever we discussed, we can discuss. The rest we can continue next week.
Slowly, this Telugu portion should be translated in a very, very slow manner so that people can understand all of it.
Yes.
It's very hard to understand.
Very hard to understand. You know, I'm reading Telugu, but that thing is going into.
Kalyani, are you okay?
Auntie? Say it, auntie.
I can't understand what Swami is trying to say, convey in Telugu language.
Kalyani, you're okay. I hope you understand.
Yes. And the next sentence was Kevalamu Manava Buddhini Parimitamayinadika.
That's limitation of the human intellect.
So So the Westerners thought that.
Thought like that. Westerners thought like that.
So read the full sentence. Just read one.
Yeah.
Oh, we are
ఏకేశ్వర
really
భావము
Westerners now. We don't
అతని అంటే
understand.
జగత్తంతయును నిలిచి ఉన్నది.
Yes.
సర్వచిత్తములకు నీవే కాపిరివి.
Yes.
మున్నగు వర్ణలు ఎన్నియో
Yes.
చేసి.
Yeah, so they made, so they describe that God in so many ways like that. Okay.
In him everything resides, and in he resides in every
Heart. The next statement, Adi.
కేవలము మానవ బుద్ధిని పరిమితమైనదిగా పాశ్చాత్యులు భావించిరి.
So what Swami is saying is, the Westerners thought that human intellect, the buddhi, is very limited. That what they meant was, it was incapable of perceiving anything higher than that.
Yeah.
Okay, but the Easterners, the Bharatiyas were able to shatter such limitations of the buddhi which Westerners thought existed.
But Bharatiya have shown నిరంకుశ సాహసమును చూపిరి.
Yeah, so that means they were able to get to heights and extent. They would stretch that buddhi to such an extent which was not perceived or foreseen by the Western mind. Received by the Western mind. I think that's what it is.
వారి సాహసిక భావాగ్ని జ్వాల, the fire coming out of their,
the fieriness of their intellectual valor.
స్వల్ప కణమే, only a few flames. What is it called? That
a small
kanam
sparks.
That sparks పాశ్చాత్య దేశపు తత్వ విచారపరుల్లో ధీరత విఖ్యాతునిందిన వారిని కూడా పెరుపు కొరప జాలి ఉన్నది.
Yeah, so basically what Swami is saying is, even the greatest Western mind, which had only a few sparks, for them, this type of thinking of the Bharatiya mind produce hatred also, you can say hatred or dislike, because they were quite unnerved by that.
They are amazed at the
amazed, yeah.
Experiential heights reached by the stages of India.
What does Nirankusha mean?
Nirankusha means
Ankusha means that which controls. Okay.
Oh.
So Ankusha is the tool or instrument used by Mahout, elephant Mahout, to control the elephant from moving. Nirankusha means no one can control them, type of thing. Seriya, auntie?
Nirankusha is a dictatorship. Nirankusha is but that means they had full control over it.
Yeah. Total control.
Total control over it.
No one else can control them, basically.
Unbridled, you can say unbridled.
Unbridled, you can say unbridled. Yes.
Exactly.
But it has certain negative, feeling.
Angikarinchaka tappadu. What is that?
You cannot but accept it.
Accept it. You cannot but accept the arguments. I mean, the sahasam, the courageous effort which they have put forth.
Oh.
You cannot but acknowledge.
Oh.
Yes.
Swami's Telugu is also flowery. Flowery language, what Swami's.
And you said Sahasamu is valor or something like that?
Valor.
Yeah. It's one who goes to all heights without any fear. I don't know what to English, any other word.
So what did you say about one who goes beyond without fear? What did you say, brother?
What is
who can go to any heights without any fear. Sahasa.
Okay, thanks.
It's yeah, that's I don't know. It's basically Sahasa is boldness, daring, type of thing. One who is very, daring to do anything, adventurous, all that. These people who cross the, on a tightrope walking across the Niagara Falls, like that, that type of thing. Those are all called Sahasa. Fearless adventure, you can say. So I think it's 4:31. We can close the session, I think, for today, and we'll continue next week.
Yeah, next week.
We have to limit our Sahasam, actually. Kalyani, you can, auntie, one of.
Yeah. Kalyani, you do.
Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.